Hey guys, my name is Adele Huffman, joined alongside by Joe Pratt and Alex Rocco, our two amazing broadcasters. Alex, what do you think we saw at the last Hyannis game that we can really build on today?
Well, it was a massive victory for the Kettleers, and the bats really came out firing on all cylinders. Brandon Compton, Devin Taylor, the 3-4 in the lineup for the Kettleers that game, blasted their 5th home runs of the season. And Brandon Compton's been on an absolute tear as of late. And when Tanner Thatch, maybe his bat has died down just a little bit over the last few games, Brandon Compton's been there, and a guy in Devin Taylor who's really been amazing. 5 home runs this year, 13 RBIs, and ever since he's came back from Team USA, you've seen the power really start to explode off of his bat. But I also think the big key in that game for Cotuit was working deep in accounts and having good at-bats.
And Joe, do you think there are any specific keys to the game today?
I think getting off to a hot start offensively, because that's what we saw the other night against Hyannis. And then, you go back to last Sunday when the Kettleers played YD right here at Lowell Park. They fell behind early on in that game, and it seems like when they've fallen behind in these games, especially in this month of July, it really has set the tone for the rest of the matchup. So I think a good start in the first 3 or 4 innings should be important, and of course a good start from Taylor C would help that out.
I definitely agree, Joe. And Alex, now we are first in the West Division. Do you think that adds any pressure, or what do you think we can do with that position now?
Well, I don't think it adds any pressure, and that's something that Mike Roberts has talked a lot about this year, treating each game like it's its own individual game and not putting too much pressure on. But, of course, when the games start to dwindle down, you're getting late into July, of course, there's a lot more meaning to these games. And, of course, being in the top spot in the West Division, it's always a good spot to be in. But I think for Cotuit, if they can come in, game out, continue the way that they've been playing, things will end up just fine.
Yes, and we know Coach sees every game as a fresh start, so looking forward to seeing what we can do with that first position. And, Joe, we can now see the finish line, so how do you think we can keep up the momentum that we have going?
Well, I think it's a good point that you bring up, because this team has hit a rough patch the past couple of Julys when you look back at the last couple of seasons. So, I mean, to have a good finish to this season, and of course you have four games within the division to finish off the summer, and so that's super important just to play for that seeding. I mean, I know Wareham is a game behind the Kettleers, Hyannis now a couple games back from that, and you talk about Falmouth. These are games for Falmouth that are more and more important every single day. I mean, they're fighting for a playoff spot, 5th place in the West Division, trying to claw back on Bourne, who's 4th place, a couple games ahead of them, but they've won 3 games in a row, so both of these teams trying to play for positioning, but more so Falmouth as they're trying to get into playoff contention.
Yes, Joe and Alex, both great points, and hopefully we can see a great game out there today and see maybe some tricky plays, maybe some stolen bases, as Coach Roberts likes to see. But we're going to get started in just a few minutes with our face-to-face against Falmouth here. Thank you to Joe Pratt and Alex Rocco, and we'll see you in just a bit.
Game 32 of the Cape Cod Baseball League between the Cotuit Kettleers and the Falmouth Commodores is just about set to get underway from Lowell Park. 10 minutes till first pitch as we welcome you inside the broadcast booth. I'm Alex Rocco, joined alongside by my broadcast partner Joe Pratt. And Joe, it is round 4 between the Kettleers and the Commodores, and this series so far has favored Cotuit.
Yeah, it has, and last time these two teams met, it was all the way back on the 4th of July, and that was of course, great start from Thatcher Hurd, who went 6 innings in that ball game, and he was the only pitcher for the Kettleers this season to go 6 innings. But last week we were able to see one pitcher nearly get up to that mark, Taylor C., and he's getting the start today. So hopefully for Mike Roberts and the Kettleers, they can get a similar outing from him. And it was 5 innings. He gave up 5 hits, 1 earned run. It was the home run. But he was able to get out of that game. Only 2 pitchers used in that game, and much similarly to what we saw a couple of nights ago in Hyannis.
Taylor C. making his 2nd start this season here at Lowell Park. Faced the Wareham Gatemen in his 1st start. Now we'll face the Falmouth Commodores, as we'll step aside for a quick break here on the Kettleers Digital Network as the national anthem is getting set here from Lowell Park. Nor other intimidating actions directed at officials, athletes, coaches, and team representatives, grounds for removal of Lowell Park. The Cotuit Athletic Association and the Kettleers want to ask our Lowell fans to please start parking your vehicles at the Cotuit Elementary School area. We line much of the field
so it'll be easy to park and leave when you want. The town's closely monitoring street parking. This is a viable solution to attending Kettleer games and avoid bench parking tickets. The town is allowing parking at Lowell on the side closest to the field. In addition, you can park only on the odd-numbered side of Main Street, but not on the sidewalk. We appreciate your cooperation and, of course, support of the Kettleers. Once the umpires and the coaches complete their meeting at home plate. We'll have a singing of our national anthem on this Southport night here at Lowell Park and first pitch. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we ask you to please rise and remove your hats as we welcome the Southport Sound to the singing of our national anthem. Led by Laura Samuels, this is a volunteer group of singers who reside in Mashpee at the Southport on Cape Cod Condominium Complex and over 55 active adult in the community. Joining the Southport Sound in support are the many veterans from that community who have made the trip from Mashpee over here to Lowell Park. Ladies and gentlemen, the Southport Sound with our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light was so proudly hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in, gave proof
Now, ladies and gentlemen, we ask you to please direct your attention to the playing field as we welcome back Joe Lozano, a member of the 1976 and 1970.
5 minutes till first pitch between the Commodores and Kettleers. Welcome back inside the broadcast booth. As Joe, just like we were talking about before, Taylor C. getting the ball for Cotuit, and this is something that we've talked about a lot over the last few games. It's been a revolving door for the Kettleers pitching staff, guys leaving the roster, guys joining the roster, but for Taylor C., a recent addition to this team, making his second start, how vital is it for him to follow his excellent performance in his first outing?
Well, yeah, it's a great point that you bring up. He's a guy who just 3 days before his first appearance in Cotuit last time out, he was playing in the Texas Collegiate Summer League with the Brazos Bombers, and so he was a guy who was already playing some summer ball and was picked up by the Kettleers this season, so he really kept things going in his strong play from Brazos Valley to Cotuit, and hopefully he's able to do more of that again in his second time out. But it was a getting ahead of batters, not being too afraid of what he was throwing out there. And he said he talked to Mike Roberts after the game, and Roberts was just amazed by the way that he was super relaxed after that game, and he was able to give up some hits at times but work with runners on base. And he said, you know, he gave up the home run in the middle of that ball game, but if somebody's going to hit the ball, they're going to hit the ball, he said, and I just got to keep throwing my pitches and trusting my stuff, and that's exactly what he did, and that's exactly what we can look for in today's second outing for him.
But on the flip side for the Commodores, this is a team that got off the gates really struggling, started off 1-8, but ever since that moment, they've really bounced back. They have a 12-10-1 record, and especially in their last 5 games, they're 4-0-1.
Yeah, I mean, this is a game where you probably are looking at the 2 hottest teams in the Cape Cod Baseball League right now. I mean, Falmouth in their last 5, they're 4-0-1. Their offense has been in the top 3 in pretty much every single offensive category in the last couple weeks. Same exact thing with Cotuit. Since July 11th, Cotuit with a 10-3-1 record. That's the best in the CCBL, and they're playing their best baseball right now. That's exactly what you want to be doing for the Kettleers, who are likely penciled in for the playoffs next month, but for Falmouth, they absolutely are not sitting a game behind Bourne. They're at 13-18-1. Bourne right at 14-16-2, so just a game ahead of them. So each and every game for Falmouth matters. You know that they're going to come out swinging, they're going to come out hot, and we were talking with one of their broadcasters before this game, Alex. Aiden Blank was saying how this is a lineup with some of their better guys that they like and the hottest hitters that they have right now. So it's 1 through 9, supposed to be pretty strong for the Commodores, and we'll see if the Kettleers can combat that.
And Joe, why don't you preview how Falmouth will line up today?
Let's take a look at how Jeff Trundy's Commodores line up against Taylor C today. It'll be Jackson Willits out of Oklahoma playing at second base. He gets his 4th straight start against the Kettleers in the leadoff spot. Zion Rose out of Louisville plays in left. Jason Jones in right field out of Oklahoma State bats third. Trent Caraway, the designated hitter, will bat 4th. He's out of Oregon State as well. Gavin Keelan, the Louisville shortstop, will bat 5th. Gavin Turley in center field. He's also out of Oregon State. Dylan Carey out of Nebraska plays at third. Carson Bowen, the catcher out of TCU, and Isaiah Barquette will play at first base and bat 9th today. MJ Seo gets his 2nd start this summer for the Commodores. He'll be on the bump when we come back in the bottom of the 1st.
It should be an exciting pitching matchup between Taylor C. and MJ Seo, 2 guys that are making their 2nd starts this summer. And as Taylor C. taking the mound, the Kettleers taking their infield and outfield throws. This is, when you look at the records, this is something that you just mentioned earlier. You look at the records, and maybe this doesn't seem or appear to be a game on paper, but in all 3 matchups, they've been decided by at most 3 runs.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the way that these 2 teams played and the way that the Kettleers rely so much on the home run ball. It's what they got the other night against Hyannis, and we haven't really seen that as much in this season series. It's been both of these teams who have been able to leave the ballpark a couple of times, but also been relying on a lot of small ball tactics. That was really what went on the first time these 2 teams met. That was back on June 25th. Cotuit with a 4-2 win that day, and it was really taking advantage of a lot of infield mistakes from the Commodores, and I think that you'll definitely be looking for some of that today from Mike Roberts, who maybe we haven't seen him get into as much small ball as we have expected so far this season, but against a Commodores team who has been known to make a lot of mistakes in the field and give up a lot of unearned runs, more so than most of the teams in this league. So expect the Kettleers to be playing some small ball, and for Taylor C, he's just got to do more of the same of what he did his last time out, which is throw strikes and start off these batters with balls in the zone.
And C this past year at Texas State had a 2-0 record, a 6.05 ERA. Didn't start a game, but made 25 appearances out of the bullpen, tossing 19 and a third innings pitched. Struck out 17, but hits were really the main thing that plagued Taylor C. Allowed 24 hits, and batters were hitting .324 against him. But he got off to a hot start in his Cotuit debut. Let's see what he has in store in his second outing. So the leadoff man, Jackson Willits, will dig in. Willits getting the start at second base today, and as you mentioned, Joe, the fourth consecutive game in the leadoff spot for Falmouth against Cotuit this year. Taylor C. is ready. Jackson Willits is ready. C kicks and deals the first pitch. It's looked at for a called strike one, and we are underway from Lowell Park. First pitch was tossed at 5:01 local time. 79 degrees here in Cotuit. Partly cloudy. As the 0-1 on the way to Willits, this one chopped on the ground, foul down the first base line. So quickly 2 strikes for Taylor C. That's something he did a lot in the last start against Wareham. Through 67 pitches, 51 strikes. As he's ahead against the leadoff man, Willits 0-2. C kicks and deals. The 0-2 spoiled out of play, back into the parking lot. Jackson Willits has been the heartbeat at the top of this Falmouth order, playing in his 24th game this summer. Batting .306, has a pair of home runs, 15 RBIs. Has reached base in 12 of 15 games in the month of July for the Commodores. The 0-2 once again. Willits stays alive as he spoils another 0-2 pitch. Hitting right off the Kettleers concession stand.
Jackson Willits with a great night last night, 2 for 4 in their win against Harwich. So the Falmouth Commodores picking up an 8-1 win on the road, just their 3rd road win this season, Alex.
They're playing better on the road, 2-0-1 in their last 3 games on the road, as the 0-2 pitch spiked in the dirt, kept in front by the catcher Matt Klein, and we'll take a look at how Mike Roberts' squad aligns defensively. Brandon Compton gets the start in left. Max Ballou plays center field. In right field is Devin Taylor. From third to first in the infield is Luke Hansen, Timo Becerra, Jaron Advincula, and Tanner Thatch. And getting the start behind the dish is Matt Klein. As going down on strikes is Jackson Willits, as Taylor C. picks up his first strikeout and first out to begin the ballgame.
Well, the last time he was out, it was relying a lot on his defense, relying a lot on weak contact, just 2 strikeouts across those 5+ innings. So for him to get that first punch out, get off to a great start, build some confidence, super important for Taylor C. in his second start today.
Now it's the left fielder Zion Rose playing against the Kettleers for the first time this season. C starts him out with a pitch that spikes in the dirt, gloved by Klein. But Rose this year playing in 11 games so far for the Commodores. 14 for 48. It's good for a .292 batting average. As the 1-0 pitch, a high looping breaking ball, that's looked at for strike one to even the count up at 1-1. But Joe Rose coming off an outstanding year this past season at Louisville, where he hit .376 in 45 games just as a freshman, as Rose hits this one the other way. Going back is Devin Taylor. Near the fence will make the running grab for the second out, so it's allowed out off the bat of Zion Rose. But Taylor C. has gotten the first 2 batters he's faced.
Yeah, given a ride by Zion Rose, gets his first start against the Kettleers, and just 1 out away is Taylor C. from escaping this first inning very quickly. 2 up, 2 down, and a guy in Jason Jones who gets his 3rd start against the Kettleers this summer.
Jones 1 for 7 against Cotuit so far, as C starts him out with a first pitch breaking ball that's taken for ball number 1. Jones this year playing in his 25th game with Falmouth, hitting .312 as C falls behind Jones after another off-speed pitch taken outside for ball 2. This is something that Taylor C., you don't see too often from him, a guy who likes to pound the strike zone. 51 strikes out of 67 pitches in his last outing. Has 7 strikes on 11 pitches so far today, as his 2-0 pitch Hit right down the middle, straight back into center field. Going back, leaping up, and that's over the head of the center fielder, Max Ballou. Kicks off the fence and steaming his way into second is Jason Jones with a loud 2-out double.
Yeah, just takes that one to the deepest part of the ballpark. Jason Jones to deep center over the head of Max Ballou. Gives it a jump, but it's just barely over his head. That ends up being the 8th double of the summer for Jason Jones and a 2-out base runner for the Commodores. So just as Taylor C. was able to work through those 2 first batters very efficiently, has to face the scary 4-hole hitter in Trent Caraway.
Before the first pitch to Caraway, a pickoff move, a high looping throw. Back in standing is Jones. But here is Trent Caraway, hitting .308 this summer, 13 home runs, 17 RBIs. As C's first pitch to him, misses for ball 1. Caraway playing 18 games, missed a bunch of time with a broken finger, but was ultra productive this past season at Oregon State, where he hit .339 as C falls behind him with a 93-mile-an-hour fastball. A 3-pitch mix for Taylor C. Fastball, slider, and changeup. As he comes set on the outer portion of the mound, takes a look back at Jones, now comes home with the 2-0 pitch. A hard line drive, foul down the first base line. Another good crowd on hand here at Lowell Park. Fans filling up the home grandstand on the third base line. Fans in their lawn chairs also down that third base line. Still some open seats on the first base grandstand. As the 2-1 on the way, taken for ball 3 on the outside corner. So C falls behind the cleanup hitter, Trent Caraway. Taylor C looking for just one more out to strand Jason Jones, who leads off second. The 3-1 pitch, Caraway thought it was ball 4, made the trek down to first base, but it's called to strike 2. So the count is full here with 2 outs in the inning.
Yeah, good pitch there from C, donning it low and away, and 1 strike away from getting out of this frame.
C takes a long look in, now comes set. Kicks and deals the payoff pitch. A high chopper hit on the ground to Tanner Thatch at first base. Fields it, makes the flip in time to nab Trent Caraway as Taylor C works in and out of trouble, gets the first 2 batters he faces, but surrenders the 2-out double to Jason Jones, but gets the 3-1 putout of Trent Caraway as we head to the bottom half of the first, with Falmouth and Cotuit tied at 0 here on the Kettleers Digital Network.
Construction is your go-to provider for all excavation, drainage, and waterworks services. On top of that, they offer landscape filling materials such as sand, native stone, gravel, shells, and more. Serving Cape Cod and the islands for 30 years, Bortolotti Construction is committed to serving its community. Visit at 45 Industry Road in Marston's Mills or call 508-771-9399.
Coastal Rentals is the place to go for professional landscape and construction equipment. Whether you need tools and equipment for commercial use or for your own projects, Coastal Rentals has what you need. Purchasing gear is also available. Check out Coastal Rentals today.
Cotuit Library. Since its founding in 1874, the Cotuit Library has served its community with an expansive collection that continues to grow. Their staff is dedicated to serving all ages, offering youth events weekly. The library has dozens of events scheduled throughout the summer, so be sure to head to the website at cotuitlibrary.org to see what's coming up next. The library is located right off Main Street. The Cotuit Library, a proud sponsor of the Kettleers.
They'll go with the same leadoff man that they've had for the past week, Tanner Thatch playing at first base, followed by Brandon Compton, who moves 1 spot up in the order to second, playing in left field. Devin Taylor bats right after him. those two combining for a lot of production in these past few games. And then Easton Winfield will bat in the cleanup spot, being the designated hitter today. Matt Klein gets back into the lineup for the first time since Saturday, bats 5th, as does Max Ballou, who's right behind him at 6th. Jaron Advincula, his 31st start this summer, batting in the 7th hole. Timo Becerra gets his 7th straight start in bats 8th, and Luke Hansen rounds out the order in the 9th spot.
So here is the aforementioned Tanner Thatch, set to begin against MJ Seo. Righty picks it in. Hard liner, that'll get down in a right field. So all it takes is one pitch, and Tanner Thatch notches another base hit as he's on with a leadoff single.
Yeah, wasting no time there. We know Tanner Thatch's numbers against right-handed pitching this year and just been off the charts, and for him to be in that leadoff spot, continue to swing a hot bat, it's been incredible to see, because Mike Roberts has tried a lot of different guys in that leadoff spot, but seemingly Tanner Thatch has settled in there.
Thatch now has hits in 12 of his last 13 after his leadoff single, and another man who's been on a tear at the dish is Brandon Compton. Compton currently on a 9-game hitting streak, looks at a first pitch strike from Seo. 16 for 34 over those 9 games. 2 home runs, 12 RBIs for Brandon Compton. Coming into today, hitting .316, now is the team lead in RBIs as a breaking ball laid off for ball 1, as the count evens up at 1-1. Taking a look at how Falmouth aligns defensively, Zion Rose gets to start in left field. Gavin Turley, he plays in center. Jason Jones gets another start in right field. Dylan Carey mans the hot corner as Brandon Compton fouls this one down the left field line, so he falls behind on the count 1-2. Dylan Carey's at third base. Gavin Keelan plays shortstop. Jackson Willits, he's at second. Isaiah Barquette plays first, and getting the start behind the dish is Carson Bowen with MJ Seo out on the bump. Thatch takes his lead off first. Seo now comes set at the belt. Takes a long look in, kicks and deals the 1-2 pitch. This one chopped on the ground the other way. That'll get through after 2 diving attempts by the left side of the Falmouth infield. So back-to-back singles for the Kettleers as they have runners on first and second.
Yeah, how about Brandon Compton just continues to swing a hot bat, and that time with the infielders playing staggered on the left side of the infield, is able to tuck it in past the diving Carey, past the diving Keelan, and it squeezes through into left to put the first 2 runners of this ball game that MJ Seo faces on base. And now possibly one of the hottest hitters in this lineup. It's tough to tell if it's Brandon Compton or if it's Devin Taylor, but that's a big reason as to why they're back-to-back in the order for moments like these.
Taylor coming off of a game against Hyannis where he was 1 for 3, crushed his 5th home run of the summer as Seo falls behind him. Taylor with 2 home runs in his last 3 games. Now up to 5 with 13 RBIs. Comes up in a big spot here with 2 runners on. The 1-0 pitch taken above the letters for ball 2. That's been an issue for MJ Seo so far this summer with the Commodores. In his 2 appearances, has walked 5 hitters in 3 1/3. Does have an 0-1 record with a 2.7 ERA as Seo kicks and deals the 2-0, taken beneath the knees as 3 consecutive balls as Devin Taylor sits up in the count 3-0. But MJ Seo so far this summer has an 0-1 record, a 2.7 ERA, and 3 1/3 innings pitched. Has only allowed 1 hit coming into today. 3 runs, 1 earned. As the 3-0 pitch taken for ball 4. So MJ Seo has loaded the bases on the first 3 hitters he's faced.
And just more of that great eye displayed by Devin Taylor, who is continuing to climb the team leaderboard in terms of the walks. Now is 11th on the season, moving past Grant Jay for 3rd overall on the team. But as you mentioned before we went on the broadcast, saying how we got 6 lefties or 5 lefties, it is at the top of this lineup, whatever it ends up being. MJ Seo being a righty on the mound, it's fitting that Mike Roberts puts all those lefties in the lineup to face him, and we're seeing it play to his advantage right now. But now with Easton Winfield at the plate, also a guy who's torn the cover off the ball against righties, has 9 hits so far this season, but 7 of them coming off of righties.
Must be a lucky number 7 as 7 consecutive lefties to begin the Kettleer lineup, as here is Easton Winfield with the bases loaded after the mound visit, as Seo misses his target once again. 5 consecutive balls here as he falls behind Winfield. Seo now working it out of the windup. His 1-0 to Winfield. Hit right back up the middle. That'll get through into the left center field alleyway. Thatch comes in to score. Following him is Compton. Moving up to third is Taylor. Sliding in safely at second is Easton Winfield. It's a 2 RBI double for Winfield, his 4th double of the year. And with one swing of the bat, the Kettleers are up 2-0.
Well, that's a great swing there from Easton Winfield, not trying to do too much, just pokes it through that left side of the infield past the shortstop Keelan, and we saw his production maybe slow down a little bit 2 days ago at Hyannis. Went 0 for 4, was riding a 6-game hitting streak where he had RBIs in 5 out of the 6 of those games, and just great to see him get back up into the lineup in the 4 spot and make a difference in the first inning of this ball game. 2-0 Cats.
Now it's Matt Klein who takes a healthy cut out of the first offering from Seo, tips it into the glove of Carson Bowen. This is something that you mentioned on the pregame show, Joe, starting early in Cotuit. Doing that, getting their first 4 hitters to reach base as Matt Klein hits a towering pop-up into right field. Camping underneath it is Jones. Tagging from third is Devin Taylor, but a strong relay throw has him going back to the bag, and now they have Easton Winfield doubled off after the throw from Isaiah Barquette. Gavin Keelan puts the tag on him, and after a little bit of confusion, Devin Taylor hops off the bag, but he's back in safely. So Matt Klein hits into a double play, and all the momentum gone after just a swing.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, you talk about that momentum so much, and to be able to put runs up in the first inning, 2 runs likely won't be enough to win you the ball game, of course, so trying to put on as many runs as you can, and who knows if a mistake on the base pass might come back to bite him, but it's tough to tell if Mike Roberts wanted Devin Taylor to take off there or if Easton Winfield just thought he was going to take off. But nonetheless, they'll still have an opportunity with 2 outs and a runner in scoring position. But those are mistakes that you don't want to be making and this early on in the game. We'll see if it comes back to bite him.
This is a big spot for Max Ballou, who finds himself up in the count 1-0. Takes a healthy cut out of the 73-mile-an-hour breaking ball to even the count up at 1-1. But Ballou, since his 2-homer game, all the way back on July 12th in the massive road victory against Harwich, has really struggled. 1 for 13 as he fouls a pitch right back into the fence behind home plate, falling behind on the count 1-2. Just 1 for 13 with 7 strikeouts is Ballou. As he faces the Commodores for the first time this season. Devin Taylor leads off third. The 1-2 offering kept in front by Carson Bowen. That's a big block there. So the count evened up at 2-2 to the lefty Ballou. Seo kicks and deals the 2-2 offering. This one hit back up the middle. Keelan is there. His throw in time to nab Max Ballou for the 3rd and final out of this bottom of the 1st, but not before Cotuit strikes first as they put up 2 runs on the 2 RBI double by Easton Winfield as we head to the top of the 2nd with the Kettleers leading the Commodores 2-0 here on the Kettleers Digital Network.
Here at the Mass State Lottery, we're known for our monster wins. But there's no bigger win than the $1 billion we provide each year to support all 351 cities and towns in Massachusetts. In our game, we know that supporting local businesses and helping communities is how we all win. Because at the lottery, we're all playing for the home team. The Mass State Lottery. Welcome to the state of winning.
clouds overhead here at Lowell Park. Although it is 79 and partly sunny, there is some rain projected in the forecast, so we'll see how that affects this game between the Kettleers and Commodores. Seen a couple of times this year, Joe, where Cotuit has yet to play a full 9 innings, so hopefully that isn't the case so far today.
Yeah, I mean, and looking at those clouds above the center field, trees out there, could be one of those games where we could be cutting it close in terms of the sunlight at the end of this game. Of course, when it's cloudier, it'll get a bit darker earlier on. I mean, we'd have to go back to our days in biology in high school to, learn more about that, I think. But the clouds, and when it gets darker around 7:45 to compared when there's no clouds out there and it won't be dark until 8:30, it's just a big difference. And it's a big reason as to why by next week we'll be playing games here at Lowell Park at 4:30. Of course, we'll be in Brewster at the start of next week. That'll be a 4 p.m. start time. So it's a good time for these games to be moved up earlier in the day, and we'll see that next week.
Cotuit playing Harwich here at 4:30. That's on July 30th, the first 4:30 start at Lowell Park. It's the 1-2 pitch to the shortstop, Gavin Keelan, taken high and outside for ball 2. That evens the count at 2-2. And Joe, a flashback from the past, talking about the biology days. It's been a while.
It has. I mean, I think that's a scientific fact that it gets darker when there's clouds out, when it's overcast.
I think it does. As the 2-2 pitch, that one's belted into the right center field gap, takes a couple of hops, kicks off the base of the fence. Gavin Keelan motors his way up to second with a leadoff double. The second double so far today for Falmouth, and that's a big response here to begin the second inning of play.
Yeah, well, it's another pitch that Taylor C. leaves up in the upper part of the zone, and it's to the lefty, Gavin Keelan. You can't do that against him. He'll punish you. And so far, 0 for 7 this summer against the Kettleers, has been able to make a difference with an RBI, but you knew you couldn't keep his bat quiet for an entire season series. So making a difference early on today, improving to 1 for 8. So this is exactly the start that Falmouth needs to this second inning. I mean, Cotuit with 2 runs in that first, and we were just talking about the base running mistake there that could have potentially costed them their 3rd run. So who knows if Falmouth is able to take a lead here because of that.
Easton Winfield getting doubled off second after the miscommunication with Devin Taylor, who started breaking for home, then put on the brakes. And Winfield was caught in a rundown as the first pitch to Gavin Turley looked at for strike 1. You talked about Keelan not having success against the Kettleers. Well, Gavin Turley, the complete opposite. 2 for 6 with a home run, 3 RBIs. Has also walked twice as the 0-1 pitch. A grounder right back to the mound. Goes off the glove of C, barehanded by Advincula. Can't get the throw off his back throw to third base. Not in time as Keelan is safe on third base. So it's just a ball that doesn't leave the infield as Gavin Turley reaches.
Yeah, just hard enough to squeeze under the glove of Taylor C. And there's a chance that he was able to get a piece of leather on that ball, just enough to slow it down, so Jaron Advincula had to rush a lot more to make that play. And Turley, with great speed, playing in center field every day, has plenty of stolen bases. He's going to beat that out up the first base line every time. Just a nice throw there from Jaron Advincula to put a seed into the glove of Luke Hansen, who gets another start at third.
So it's runners on the corners with no outs, and that brings up the third baseman, Dylan Carey, as C starts him out with a first pitch breaking ball. That's looked at for strike 1. Carey's been the leader offensively for Falmouth this season. Tied for the team lead in hits with Luke Gaffney with 28. Gaffney getting a day off as Carey lines a pitch right back into the fence behind home plate. So he falls behind 0-2. Carey playing in his 27th game with the Commodores. Hitting .304 with a home run and 12 RBIs. Also leads Falmouth with 6 stolen bases. As dancing off first is Gavin Turley. C will have to step off, and Falmouth dugout thought C balked.
Yeah, that or just letting him hear it for thinking that there might be a runner on second base. Quickly pirouetting and throwing to the second base bag. I think they're maybe trying to get into his head a little bit.
The 0-2 pitch, the appeal down at first. Carey did not go.
I mean, we heard him erupt with noise when that ball that dribbled just beyond his glove got by, and they're able to work an infield hit out of it. So very lively today is that Falmouth dugout, and rightfully so. I mean, they desperately need to win some baseball games in any way to build some of that momentum we were talking about.
It's a massive game for Falmouth as they come into today sitting in 5th place, just a game or so behind Bourne, who is in 4th. The Commodores with a 13-18-1 record. But they're playing well as of late, winners of 4 of the last 5. C comes set, kicks and deals, pickoff move, diving back in safely is Turley. C keeping a close eye on Gavin Turley, who leads off first.
And that was a good eye there, because Turley was just about to get into his secondary lead, but quickly had to plop back on the bag.
Turley with 4 stolen bases, another pickoff move, he's in standing. A lot of speed at the bottom of this Falmouth order. Turley with 4 stolen bases, Carey with 6. So if they can get on base, they could create havoc, as this one goes the opposite way. Reaching out and making a fantastic grab is Devin Taylor. His throw to first is not in time, as sliding back in safely is Gavin Turley. Coming in to score is Gavin Keelan. But what a heck of an effort by Devin Taylor, going full extension in right field and saving a pair of runs.
Well, it's just his 4th start in right field this summer for the Kettleers, and Mike Roberts might want to think otherwise after seeing that play in right center. I mean, what a grab by Devin Taylor, and it's a big reason as to why he started a lot of games in the outfield this past season for Indiana. He can close in on fly balls incredibly quickly, as we just saw it right there, and steal extra base hits. It could be a 2-2 ball game right now if he doesn't come down with that baseball. So just a massive first out of this 2nd inning, and hauled down by Devin Taylor to keep that runner on first base.
So 2-1 is your score. The first pitch to Carson Bowen, a 92-mile-an-hour heater. That's a called strike 1. Bowen's had a lot of success against the Kettleers this summer, 4 for 8 with a home run and 2 RBIs. As another pickoff move, Turley's in standing. It's the 5th pickoff move from Taylor C, keeping a close eye on Turley, who leads off first. C back on the rubber. His 0-1 pitch on the outside corner. That's looked at for a strike 2. Bowen bent his knees, disagreed with the call, but he's behind in the count, 0-2. Dancing off first is Turley once again. The 0-2 pitch high and away. Bowen coming off a year at TCU where he started in all 51 games. Hit .235. Got off to a dominant start as a freshman. Hit .350. As this one skied into straightaway center field. Backing up is Max Ballou, who makes the grab. Turley thought there was 2 outs. Ballou's throw back to first is not in time. Gets away from Tanner Thatch. Kicks off the dugout. Turley's breaking for second. Matt Klein's throw is in time. They got him. Heads up defense by the Kettleers as Max Ballou with a strong throw into first. It got behind Tanner Thatch, but backing him up was Matt Klein, who fired a missile in time to nab Gavin Turley, who was looking to advance to second. So the Kettleers defense making a couple of big plays as we head to the bottom half of the inning, with Cotuit leading Falmouth 2-1 here on the Kettleers Digital Network.
Cape Cod Coffee is a proud sponsor of the Cotuit Kettleers. They offer breakfast and lunch, as well as indoor and outdoor dining. Check out Cape Cod Coffee at one of their 3 locations, on Route 130, at Mashpee Commons, and at Wareham Commons, or on their website at capecodcoffee.com. When the unexpected happens, make sure you and your assets are insured appropriately. The agents at Leonard Insurance Agency can tailor coverage to meet your needs. Call 508-428-6921 to talk to their licensed agents today. For nearly 2 decades, Coastal Irrigation has proudly provided top-notch irrigation and landscape lighting services across Cape Cod. Starting with just a handful of customers in Cotuit, they now serve nearly all of the Cape. Upgrade your lawn care with their modern irrigation systems. No more dragging around hoses or worrying about watering while you're away. Their systems ensure your grass stays healthy and green effortlessly. Transform your home with Coastal Irrigation's landscape lighting services. Enhance your outdoor gatherings, improve safety, and boost curb appeal with their affordable, low-voltage lighting solutions. illuminate your walkways, and highlight architectural details to make your home shine. Contact Coastal Irrigation at 508-428-1529 or info@coastalirrigation.net.
The Kettleers defense coming to play early against the Commodores. Devin Taylor with an excellent diving catch in right field to save a pair of runs. And then Max Ballou and Matt Klein pairing up for an 2-6 double play. Not one that you see often. But Cotuit still leading 2-1 after an inning and a half. Here is Jaron Advincula taking his first at-bat against MJ Sayo, a high looping breaking ball that's taken outside for ball 2. Cotuit in that bottom of the first scored 2 runs on 3 hits. They did leave a man stranding as Advincula hits this one into center field. Gliding over to it is Gavin Turley, who makes the grab for the first out.
Well, we were just talking about base running mistakes in that first inning, but the Commodores giving one right back in the top of that second frame, so this game stays at 2-1. But this is a part of the lineup, Alex, that the Kettleers have relied a lot upon in these past few weeks. The bottom half of the order, one being Timo Becerra, who gets looks right now. Jaron Advincula been very productive at the bottom half.
The first pitch to Becerra, a breaking ball that doesn't break too much as it's taken for ball 1. Becerra's been on a tear, like you mentioned, Joe, as of late. 6 for his last 16 at the dish as he hits this one into left field. Coming on is Zion Rose, going into a dive and making the play. What a grab by Zion Rose in left field. Lost his hat in the process, but makes a fantastic dive for the second out.
He just steals that ball from Timo Becerra, who is trying to bloop that one into the alleyway, but guarding that is Zion Rose, who closed the gap quickly on that baseball, lost the cap but found the baseball, and 2 quick outs there for MJ Sayo, exactly what he needed in response to giving up 2 in that first.
It looked like Zion Rose was shot out of a cannon. The burst that he got on that baseball, closing in fast and making an excellent dive. It's both defenses coming to play here in the second after the offenses came alive early.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what you like to see, these outfielders getting into it. And Zion Rose right there, he said he was a shot out of a cannon. You know, they always say first step back, but that time no hesitation. He knew where that baseball was ending up, and he wasn't going to let that drop.
Now it's Luke Hansen, who watched 2 balls go by. The 2-0 pitch misses the zone once again, so Hansen, he's up in the count 3-0. Luke Hansen playing in his 9th game this summer for Cotuit, 3 for 13, hitting .231. All 3 hits singles as he chops this one foul down the third base line on the 89-mile-an-hour fastball from Sayo. Sayo, a guy who's playing in his 3rd summer league team this summer. Pitched in the Northwoods League for Rockford and St. Cloud as he misses Hansen here as he works the 5-pitch walk. He will trot down to first as we head back to the top of the Cotuit order with Tanner Thatch.
That's good to see from Hansen, a guy who hasn't been given opportunities as a starter this season, just making his 4th game started today. So nice job for him just to reach base. And yeah, for MJ Sayo, was able to find his way here. Another one of those guys who has already played some summer ball in the 2024 summer, both with the Northwoods League, as you were just talking about.
Played with Rockford and St. Cloud. Pitched 12 innings across those 2 teams as he starts out Tanner Thatch with a first pitch strike. At the Kettleers' first baseman disagreed with the call, shook his head. The count is 0-1. Thatch today 1 for 1. Led off the game with a single. As the 0-1 pitch outside to even the count up at 1-1. But walks have been an issue for Sayo this year. 5 walks coming into today with Falmouth, walked 5 with Rockford, and walked 6 with St. Cloud as a towering pop-up hit just foul at first base. Isaiah Barquette makes the grab as he camps under it for the 3rd and final out of this bottom of the second. So a nice bounce-back inning for MJ Sayo as he surrenders the 2-out walk but gets the pop-up of Tanner Thatch. As we're through 2 here at Lowell Park. Cotuit leading Falmouth 2-1. And before we step aside, we'll bring on the third member of our team, Adele Huffman, who has more.
Thanks, Joe and Alex. I'm standing down here with Donna Rockwell, leading the Center for the Arts for Cotuit. Can you explain to us a little bit about what the Cotuit Center of Arts does for the community?
So the Cotuit Center for Arts offers programs in arts, performance, ceramics, all the arts that are offered there.
And what can we see in our backyard today?
So today we brought the Marjorie Lynn bus, which you may have seen on Route 28. It's the big blue bus parked outside of Cotuit Center for the Arts. And we take it to schools and libraries, festivals, and it's an outreach program of Cotuit. And we do projects right on the bus. Kids love it.
It is awesome, and you can make one of these back there. So be sure to visit it if you're here, and we'll send it back to you, Joe and Alex. Thank you.
Excellent work, Adele, and so cool to see the big bus out here. Of course, the video that you guys are watching, captured by our own Shay Bissett, who does an excellent job down on the field and capturing all this excellent video. But that bus looks super cool, and of course, it's got me in the spirit to paint, Joe.
Yeah, I know. I want to go down there and make my own Kettleers flag. I think we were able to last summer, but of course, the Cotuit Center for the Arts, of course, being a big supporter of the Kettleers and greatly appreciative for that. And so many kids at the ballpark, they're able to experience maybe a side of the game that they haven't been able to before, which is arts and crafts at the baseball field. And cool to see a lot of kids running around with their handmade Cotuit flags and drawings. And, yeah, we got to get in there, Alex. I don't know how we missed that.
I think we have. Hopefully they're here after the game's over. We need to paint something.
Yeah.
It's a necessity.
The booth needs a mural or something like that for us to commemorate the summer.
There's a lot of space on the wall right behind you, so we can make this work. We'll think of something after this game is over, but leading things off here in the top of the third, the first baseman, Isaiah Barquette, as Say kicks and deals the 1-0 pitch that's fouled out of play after the 91-mile-an-hour fastball. Barquette playing in his second game against the Kettleers this summer, 3 for 6 with a strikeout. As the 1-1 pitch taken outside for ball 2 to the righty. This past year at Stetson, started and played in all 50 games, where he hit .309, blasted a home run, 29 RBIs. Up in the driver's seat, 2-1 here, as C misses his spot once again downstairs. So Barquette in the driver's seat, up 3-1 to lead things off. Falmouth cutting into the deficit as they trail just 2-1 after the sac fly by Dylan Carey last inning. The 3-1 on the way from C. That's a ball 4 as Isaiah Barquette reaches to lead things off in the top of the third. The first walk issued today by Taylor C.
Just the 5th walk this summer for Isaiah Barquette, who starts off this inning just as the Commodores started off the last inning with a base runner. We're able to bring home a run after that, so Cotuit just trying to keep them at 2-1. But we'll see how the rest of this inning goes by and hope that this weather holds off.
The clouds definitely starting to get darker above head at Lowell Park. Rolling in from left field and left center field as we head back to the top of the Falmouth order. Here's Jackson Willits, who C falls behind him once again. Willits today 0 for 1 with a strikeout, the lone strikeout for Taylor C. Willits 3 for 13 against the Kettleers this summer, does have an RBI as he hits this one back up the middle. Coming on is Max Ballou. He'll let that ball fall in front of him. Advancing up to second is Barquette. So Jackson Willits notches his first hit today as he's now 1 for 2. And Falmouth has runners on first and second to open up the inning.
Yeah, his 4th hit against the Kettleers this summer. Willits just taking that one straight back where it came from, up the middle. And there's an example of Max Ballou's first step being back. Could have maybe had a shot at that baseball if the first step wasn't back, but of course that's always the right instinct, and also a good instinct by Barquette to stop at second base, because you definitely don't want to try Max Ballou's arm trying to get to third on that throw.
Saw Max Ballew's arm on that double play last inning, throwing a strike back to Tanner Thatch. It did go behind him, but luckily for Cotuit, Matt Klein, who is talking things over with Taylor C., was backing him up. But C running into trouble here, allowing the first two hitters to reach base. That brings up the ever-dangerous Zion Rose. Rose is 0 for 1, and now Mike Roberts will make the trek out to the mound.
Pretty cool moment we saw in his first at-bat in the first inning, though. Of course, teammates with Matt Klein at Louisville, and for which Zion Rose had just an unbelievable season. 376 hitter in 45 games, 64 base knocks, slugged at a 576 clip. Really did it all and made a lot of plays in the outfield that we just saw a few minutes ago. So he's definitely a guy that you want to have on this roster. And for Jeff Trundy and the Commodores, he has been a force for them so far this summer, but likely waiting on a bit more production and a bit more contact with the baseball, as he can be a very scary part of this lineup to face because, I mean, you already got Jackson Willits at the top of the order and then Jason Jones, Trent Caraway, both CCBL All-Stars. This is a top part of the order, which we were talking about earlier on, is really incredible. And when you look at a team that's at 5th in the West Division, you have to assume that they're going to gain some traction with a lineup like this every single day.
Zion Rose swing away at the first pitch. Fouls the 91-mile-an-hour fastball right off his leg as he's hobbling in pain. Just like you mentioned, Joe, just the heart of this Falmouth order. A lot of power in it. Rose this year has 14 hits coming into today in 48 at-bats. And 5 of those 14 hits have gone for extra bases, as crushed 3 home runs as the clouds are really starting to get dark. The wind is picking up above head at Lowell Park as Rose continuing to try and walk off the foul ball. He hit off of that left leg.
Yeah, now Mike Roberts, you can hear him walk out there and have a word with the umpire, Anthony Letizio, and now he's going to walk over to one of the members of the training staff for the Kettleers and likely looking over a radar of what's to come here in a few moments. But 2 arms are warming up in this game, one for Falmouth in right field, one for the Kettleers in left. It's Aiden Hunter, who was slated to be the starter in yesterday's game, but that game, of course, was rained out. So we already have a game that's to be rescheduled for this Sunday. It'll be at Orleans right after the All-Star break, postponed to July 28th. And the next off day that would be available for the Kettleers to push this game to likely would be after they play Brewster, or excuse me, after they play Harwich next week. That would be next Wednesday. So it's tough to tell if the rain is picking up and if it would be bad enough once it gets here to call this game, or if it's just one of those passing showers in late July. And now he's going to call in a couple other of the members of the crew, and now you see Peyton Kesselring, Will Thompson, part of the coaching crew, Matthew Flaherty running over there as well. A couple of the players, they're going to sprint over there, try to grab the tarp, cover up this baseball field, and I guess we'll see how bad this rain gets.
So with the Kettleers putting the tarp on the field, rain is in store here at Lowell Park. We'll step aside and update you guys as we know information, and hopefully this game between the Falmouth Commodores and the Cotuit Kettleers resumes. Cotuit right now leading 2-1 as things are halted here in the top of the third, but we'll take a quick break here on the Kettleers Digital Network.
Since 1980, the O'Rourke family has been catering Cape Cod clam bakes, making your events delicious and memorable. Founded by Jake O'Rourke, Jake's Clam Bakes has become a beloved tradition, now carried on by his son, Dan. Choose from our menu options, and on the day of your clam bake, their crew will come to your site and steam a fresh, mouth-watering clam bake just for you. It's that easy. Call us at 833-252-6285 or visit our new takeout location at Building 6 on 3821 Route 28 in Marston's Mills. Email us at dan@jakesclambakes.com with your event details, number of guests, date, time, location, and any special requests like a raw bar, homemade desserts, or kids menu. Not catering? Try their takeout menu featuring lobster rolls, smash burgers, salads, sandwiches, and a smoothie bar. Jake's Clam Bakes, making Cape Cod gatherings unforgettable.
With 30 plus years of personal injury litigation and insurance negotiation experience, Snow Law Firm is your go-to for wrongful injuries and rightful compensation. Snow Law Firm will secure the maximum amount of compensation available through settlement or trial. Schedule a free case evaluation by calling 508-477-7100.
Just 2 innings between the Cotuit Kettleers and the Falmouth Commodores as the rain came through Lowell Park, and today's game has been suspended. Cotuit was leading 2-1, but Joe, you get through 2 innings, the Kettleers bats come alive, and then the rain comes through.
Yeah, the rain came through, and the rain was pretty consistent. Actually, really got pretty hard there for a few minutes, but since the rain has died down, the sun has kind of tried to peek out of these clouds and dry off the field. It's simply just not going to be enough to get enough baseball in for the rest of this game. I mean, you can see around home plate right now, the tarp around home plate completely covered. You can kind of see to the left of home plate, too. There are puddles there and down either baseline. So it's definitely a field that's not suitable to be played on right now. And, of course, with all the renovations that they did at Lowell Park here this past offseason, don't want to mess up this baseball field and the playing surface just to complete one game this season. So Mike Roberts walked up to the press box and just mentioned to our PA announcer Roy Reese that there's no set date on a makeup game at this point, but the game is canceled as of right now. And a bit of flashbacks from last 4th of July where these two teams were set to play on the 4th at Gov Fuller Field. They played into the 3rd inning. There was a runner on second, but then the rain blew in and they had to come back a couple of days later and complete the rest of that ball game. So it looks like that's what's going to happen here, and you can just see with the official scorer down there, Will Marcourt with the Kettleers, and talking with Mike Roberts, Jeff Trundy, the entire umpiring crew, just talking things over about when this game is going to be rescheduled and kind of how to put a halt to it, I guess. But, yeah, definitely not the way you wanted to see today's game end.
And the Kettleers got off to a hot start, and it was really the Cotuit outfield that was making plays. So a couple of diving grabs. Devin Taylor out in right field. Max Ballou was part of an 8-6-3 double play. Devin Taylor reached on a walk, and Easton Winfield a 2 RBI double that gave Cotuit the 2-1 advantage.
Yeah, we were talking about during the pregame show, Kettleers going to want to get off to a hot start in this ball game. It's a pitcher for Falmouth who hasn't had too much time on the mound, who entered in his first appearance as a reliever and didn't do too well, allowed 3 runs, only one of them was earned. But for Cotuit to get the bats going early on is going to be super important in the rest of the games moving on throughout the rest of the season, because you want to have a knack for offense early in ball games, especially in the playoffs. Never want to be playing from behind and give your pitchers the game with a deficit. So I think today they got off to a good start. Maybe see a few things in those first few innings on both sides that hopefully are able to be cleaned up, but you had to have liked where we were at, 2-1. Couple of hits on either side, couple of nice plays, as you had just mentioned, and some solid pitching to start off that game. So it was shaping up to be another good one between Falmouth and the Kettleers, but we'll have to wait on that.
Well, Joe, one final question here. Cotuit back in action tomorrow against Bourne here at Lowell Park. Bourne currently in a delay as well. They're supposed to play against Chatham, but if all holds true and the weather does look good for tomorrow, Bourne facing off against Cotuit for the 4th time this year.
Yeah, this is a Bourne team that in the past month of July, they've been really inconsistent. I mean, against teams above 500, they're 5-11, so really beating up in the games that they really have to win, games against Falmouth, and they haven't lost against Falmouth so far this season, but they've also come to Lowell Park one time, and they were not successful in that game. Of course, the 8-7 win after just 5 innings, so more of the weather being a factor in that game. Hopefully it's not, and Cotuit looking to pick up that win number 21.
But that'll do it from Lowell Park as Cotuit and Falmouth. Today's game was suspended in the top of the 3rd. The Kettleers were winning 2-1, but that'll do it for our coverage here on the Kettleers Digital Network. From a broadcast partner, Joe Pratt, for our sideline reporter, Adele Huffman, for our production crew of Jimmy Shantulis and Cam Christie, I'm Alex Rocco. Thank you so much for spending part of your Thursday afternoon with us. Cotuit and Falmouth, the Kettleers up 2-1 when this game was called. We'll talk to you tomorrow here from